people are constantly raising the bar.
Sacrifices need to be made.
What would you guys say are your biggest weaknesses?
You or your enemy right now?
Is success a lie?
Just a fucking podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to the Student Side Hustle. This week I'm with Jade Darmawangsa. So she is a digital marketer, a content creator, and just overall a very confident person. And I thought I should get her on the podcast. So Jade, how did you get into this? How did this all start? Did you become a social media marketer first, or did you become a content creator first, or how did this all start?
Thank you so much, James, for having me. Hi, guys. I'm Jade. I'm actually 16 years old, and I would say I started out YouTube right when it was actually really interesting and no one thought it was cool. So I had multiple failed channels. My current channel is all about entrepreneurship and marketing. However, I'm obsessed just with the consumer attention, and I coach people how to monetize it. So my main businesses are coaching, of course, monetizing brands, and then I also love to do the marketing, so SMMA, like social agency, with my family's business. And most recently, I help. This sounds really interesting, but I use Alexa and VR to scale a personal brand, and that's what I'm building right now.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was very intrigued because for any other 16-year-old, that would just be like, no, I can't build an app. Like they would just be like, what?
Right.
Haha, I can't build an app. Like, is that a joke? Like, but for you, it just feels like you don't really set that boundary. And you're not like, oh, an app's hard to build, but you kind of just go at it.
Oh,
like,
wait. An app is super expensive and hard to build. Like, it's very time consuming. That's why it takes months. So I don't think it's easy.
Yeah.
It's just if you have a good outsourced team. My developer team's actually in Poland. So it was very, very great just to have someone who's actually really educated. I know nothing about coding, but I'm really good at IT. So it's just a really interesting space. But yeah, definitely hard though.
Yeah, but it's like, I feel like with all this kind of stuff, when you first started, did you have this sort of like confidence and you're just like, oh, I can go in and I can just do it. Like, I know if I put in the work, I know if I put in the work, the results will come. Was that there? Like, did your parents ingrain that in you, or where did the confidence come from?
Okay, I'm really honestly the most, like, I love the attention so much. Like, that's when James asked for a podcast, I was like, okay, yeah, because I love, so basically I'm so used to performing on stage, and like when I go onto YouTube, it's like not a big deal. So the only person is how do you get the consumer attention to care about what you're saying? So I realize you can't actually say random shit. Like, vlogging actually can be damaging to your channel. You have to put value out there. So to answer your question, I think to create a crazy idea takes a lot of time and a team that actually is dedicated to you. So many people don't realize when you're in the technology business, you're in a technology business, and you better have a freaking like genius partner to help you with the IT side. For me, it was just my family's business, which is with machine learning and AI, where it actually kind of coincidentally really in chain with that. So it's definitely timing and definitely a lot of work.
Yeah, and when it comes to like the not the technical stuff, just like getting a huge amount of stuff done on a daily basis, which is something I'm trying to get really good at. In the last like 2 years, I've tried to become quite efficient and quite like productive. Do you have any tips for that for someone who is just beginning, who's someone who just sees themselves as a normal person and they want to start being an entrepreneur, and they want to start actually just getting just a lot of stuff done?
Okay, so I'll just give you like 3 tips on productivity. I have ADD.
Sweet.
So for me to say this is kind of a little bit delusional, but I do learn some things from having a very short attention span. Just because I have a short attention span, it really helped me understand that I always say this, like, no one gives a shit about what you're saying. So when you keep that in mind, you have a lot more empathy for your audience. So I'm a huge Gary Vee fan. I learned a lot of things. Honestly, I just realized you can't do any work unless you have a plan. A lot of people it's not like lack of motivation is a problem. It's like a lack of plan, a lack of purpose. No one knows what the fuck they're doing. What I'm saying is try to have a very specific goal. And I mean, this is so easy. Everyone's like, Jay, be more tactical, but there's so much power in actually, like, people don't I had a coaching call just right now, and he's like, I don't know where I want to be. I don't know how much money I want to make. If you're not specific, you don't know where you're going, you're just going to give up in the next 3 months. It's more of a lack of plan. And I can show you, well, there's actually just a huge, just like sticky note little plan board I have made just so I can remember. I literally had to remove my mirror because I have so like bad ADD that I had to remove my mirror so I could stop looking at myself, and I just look at my plan. I look at my purpose. So that's what I actually did. So that's my step one.
When I'm trying to work hard, I close my curtain so I can't look in the mirror and be like, oh wow, look.
Oh, what?
Something like, I had to get rid of that distraction.
Oh yeah, I know it's cheesy to say don't do distractions. I think I'm super bad. I have my phone out all the time, but I think that's just part of our kind of like social media jobs. Anyways, step 2.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to do what you want and be motivated if it's just more of a parent. Like, some things you can't help it. If your parents think you're a piece of shit and you just can't do anything because you're at home, you know, you better make a lot of money or better move out soon, just because you need to be in an environment that's actually obtainable. Like, it's not realistic for me to say be motivated if you're living with parents that hate you or like that don't believe in what you're doing. That's when it's like very specific. It's more of a psychology thing. So I'd say if you want to be in the business and your parents are like, screw you, I know that's a huge. Are your parents supportive, or has that ever came into your plan?
Yeah, my definitely my parents, when it comes to it, they kind of just like meh with it. Like they get it, but they're not like go. But it's like then they're definitely not bringing me down. It's just they kind of. I don't think they really understand the whole online thing yet. Like they don't get the whole. They can't grasp it. Like just how big it actually is.
I realize like fitness is a huge. I'm looking at your account. Like fitness was a huge aspect in your life. I think having like fitness also trained me to be very, very consistent, just because if you miss a day, like it's also like it screws you over. So it's back to what I'm saying, like if you can't have a conversation with the person that's holding you back, you better do it sooner, because the moment you start the moment you start half-assing something is the moment you actually cripple yourself. So either go full in or don't do it. Don't half-ass this. So that's my tip. I think that was all I had.
Boom. Straight up. I like the honesty. It's very raw and it's very real. When it because with your vlogs you keep the honesty as well, and you keep it. I like how fast paced you keep it. It's very very good.
Thank you. It doesn't make sense
like,
sometimes.
I think the honesty
keep going.
Like because there's so many people that like you can tell when they're vlogging they're trying so hard to make it a vlog, and they're trying so hard to make it like cool, and it's like they're trying so hard to just cool. But do you have any tips for just being real and being honest on social media, actually, especially in vlogs? That's where a lot of people will, I guess, slip up and be like awkward on camera or just be fake on camera.
I think most people that do YouTube are those type of people. And honestly, I don't blame them. Just because YouTube is like, a video is such a vulnerable space. If you can't literally wake up and look like shit, I don't know if you'll be a good YouTuber, just because, I don't know. I think my tip to be straightforward is stop doing inspired videos. There's a huge trend. It was like Sam Colder inspired. It was like, I just did a video on this as well on my channel. It was like so many people do like use because like when you try to be a person that's like, it's just more of like, do you know who you are? Are you are you actually trying to give value? Also, in regards to like putting on persona, I just like don't be like, I did get an editor and a videographer, which is like such a blessing, but like, you know, people just don't understand how you can just use your phone. Don't get fancy. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's not much to say it. I think people don't know what they're trying to do. They honestly, my main prediction, because I'm not sure, I'm just really used to like dancing in the street in public looking insane, because I like that. I feel like it's just kind of fun. So for me, it's like maybe it's just an insecurity. I can't really give a tip other than if you need to look yourself in the mirror and know the fuck who you are, because the moment you realize you're trying to put on a persona, it hurts you in the long run. I think that's it. Also, keep in mind, I have a lot of friends who are like in this like hashtag entrepreneur business, like hashtag drop shipping. And it's so painful. I've been there. You look in yourself in the mirror and you're acting like something like you're making 30K a month when you're not, because you know that's revenue, not profit. And you're just so, you hate yourself for that. It hurts. So, and I've been there. So.
Yeah, like I definitely think for myself, it's like there's like in no way in hell I'm like, oh fuck, I'm a hardcore entrepreneur, because it's like I'm doing uni, like I have a podcast, that's it, like. But then I have people in my life that are like, yo, hustle, I'm an entrepreneur, but then it's like you see them not really living that, and it's like it just doesn't look like realistic, and it just doesn't play right. But yeah, it's like what would you say to the average teenager who wants to like do shit that is productive and they want to be an entrepreneur, but they're still in high school, or their parents want them to go to uni, like stuff like that?
Okay, that's interesting. Right now it's really popular to be an entrepreneur, but I was selling shit in fourth grade, and that wasn't, I mean, I honestly, I can relate so badly for people who want to be cool. I think you need to try it, man. You need to try to be an entrepreneur, but you know it's not working for you, because if you can't take rejection and if you can't take the risk, like you just it's a feeling. I think it's more of like a gut feeling, like, are you doing this because it's cool? Because for example, I know so many people that are better off doing lawyer shit than doing freaking scaling a 6-figure business, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think people need to try. It's definitely crippling them. So, to answer my question, it's really interesting because I just knew that I can't sit in a classroom. I just knew. How about you? Like, did you just not like school, or what were I don't know my advice.
Yeah,
for
like
that.
I just knew that I just needed something more. Like I just couldn't be a student with a job. Like I couldn't be a student with a wage job. Like I still have to do shit like just wage jobs for money, but it's like that can't be all I do, because it just, to me, it feels like, cool, I'll get to the end of life and I know I'll be unsatisfied. Like I just know that like now, even though this podcast isn't reaping me like a bunch of money, but it's like this shit like that I get from it, I couldn't give up now. Like it is just so like beneficial, just even to my mental well-being, because it's like this year I'm trying not to hang out with too many people that like, not in such a like, not in like a very like don't bring value way, but like sort of in that way, like people who are even dragging me down. Like I'm trying to just distance myself and just sort of work harder and just focus more on the work and just hustle for the next 3, 4, 5 years of my life and see where that takes me. It's like that's the thing with this podcast, is like I couldn't give it up now, and I like if I did have to give it up, I'd have to start something else, because it's like I would just feel like I'm wasting my time and like I could be doing a lot more. And one thing that I'd also like to touch on is like, how do you sometimes, because this is something I struggled with a lot last year, is I'd always feel guilty for not doing enough. And that would always like dig at me like, oh fuck, you're not doing enough, you're not working hard enough. Like if I took the like hour or two off, I'd be like, fuck, why am I doing this? It's like, do you ever get that sort of feeling, and how do you deal with that?
Yes, just right now, I literally have 8 coaching calls today, and I feel like I'm not still doing enough. I feel like I could do more. The thing with that is like, oh my gosh. So for example, to like touch on your question, I was like, people don't realize when you expand really quickly, you contract really quickly too. I've had for my family business 2 million in 2 months, contract, boom. So don't be okay, like be okay with slow work. Be comfortable with not doing, like eating, like I don't even know, like be comfortable with waking up and not knowing what you do, because it's more painful to have faster decline than like a J curve increase. So be careful. I think people don't realize that contraction is very, very it's a huge thing. And if you're not okay, so I think also another thing is delusion is also another concept. If you're doing something every single time, the same thing, and you're not changing at all with different like no result difference, like that's called delusion. So it's knowing when to switch and when to not. If you don't have any work to do and you feel like you want to do more, then try a lot of shit. But the moment you just keep doing the same thing, and like, I feel like life comes in seasons, so there's going to be times when you work hard and when you don't. So the moment you try to power through like a rate, like it's going to contract you really quickly. I've just known that for my family business. So yeah, definitely be okay with not doing shit for a little bit.
Yeah, like definitely for me, I feel like I'm in a very chill season right now, and I'm just trying to figure out, because I used to be, this podcast used to be called Walsham Weekly, which is like my last name Weekly, and then like I looked at it and I was looking at like, what is the target audience for that? And then like this whole holiday, I've just been I'm trying to be like reevaluating what I actually want this to be, and like what I want it to be in 5 years. Like, is it just a podcast where I talk about myself and just boost my own ego, or is it a podcast where it like actually has some benefit? And it's like,
well, listen, man, James, to add to that, I think I'm hearing what you're saying. People are so happy with doing power work and doing everything once, but no one wants to take a break for 2 days and reevaluate. They crash and burn. The people who just keep running. So take a season. I don't know. You have to be okay with the journey, and people will think you're stupid maybe for taking a break, but I definitely agree. People want to power through and not take a day to reevaluate.
Yeah, like 2 years ago, I was doing 6 days a week of dishwashing, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm hustling because I was working hard. But it's like I was trying to break down a brick wall with a rubber hammer. It's like I thought that was going to get me rich, because I thought, oh, I'll invest all this money. But it's like I ended up spending everything I was making just on random shit, and it's like it just wasn't working at all, and it just felt pointless in a way. And it's like, it felt like, but it's like, one thing that I'd really like to touch on is, you said you got up at 5:30 this morning, and a lot of people strive for that sort of thing. And sometimes I get into that rut, not that rut, like that routine where I do get up at 5 and like stuff like that. But like, what sort of daily habits and routines keep you doing stuff like productive and keeping your day full and actually effective?
Okay, so if you can't tell, I'm obsessed with voice technology. I have a Google Home. Hopefully it doesn't wake up. That wakes me up. And if it doesn't turn off unless I, like literally, it's out over there. So I have to get out my bed and tap it off. That helps. I have a coffee candle. I literally have a coffee candle that says "on that grind." So I just make my whole life just to make. Also, I can't really show this, but like my freaking headboard is just sticky notes of shit. And when I when I literally wake up,
Yeah.
my eyes open, I just see all the shit I have to do. So I'm like, okay, gotta wake up. So I feel like too many people just kind of make excuses, and it's not that hard. Maybe if people like to sleep in, like
Yeah.
I had to shift my schedule. I'm out by 10
Yeah.
p.m. so I can wake up at 4:30, 5:30. So
Yeah.
my biggest tip is, again, lack of plan. I think if you have a nice
Yeah.
timer, that'd be nice. But honestly, don't even fucking buy a Google Home. Please don't. Just actually put your goals in line and do shit that you actually like, and you'll be motivated. Trust me, if you like doing this stuff, you will do it. So stop doing stuff you don't want to do.
Yeah. What about, like, how do you figure out who you actually want to be? Because it's like, for a lot of people, especially at this age, like for like 16, 18, 17-year-olds, like we all don't know what the fuck we want to be in 10 years. But then it's like, we see the people who do, and like, how do you, because I feel like you have a pretty good idea of what you want to be in 5, 10, 15 years. And it's like, how do you go about figuring that out?
First of all, I'm 16 years old, so I can't really answer life questions. So,
Yeah.
so saying like, life? What is life? I mean, I can't. I really don't want to answer that. However, I can answer you. The way you want to go about choosing a career is by. This sounds so like, I feel like I repeat this a lot. I think for me, in my case, just to be specific, I grew up in a family that kind of praised entrepreneurship. This goes back to psychology. I think I definitely got lucky with my timing. However, to know who you are is like, you kind of just notice if your friends start like looking at you weird, maybe at 5th grade you start selling shit and they're just like, what are you doing? You have a little bit of sense that you know you're different than everyone else, and you might want to you know, I don't know how to say this lightly, but like, fuck school and do what you want. So I think that's where I'm at. It's just, you have people, I think it's honest. I grew up in a really like strict Asian family. So my friends also grew up in that way. So I think it's also really stereotypical to be a lawyer or doctor. So I don't know. I think people get paralyzed by their parents. It's honestly it's childhood, man. Like, I think some people are so talented, but they are crippled by the stress and amount they want to prove to their elders that they're successful. And they want to do it quick. So it's like, and I think, you know, James, I don't have a good answer. I think I honestly can't answer a life question like that, just because my parents are just so supportive.
Yeah, like, do they sort of drive you to do more and be more without like putting this unnecessary pressure on you? Because I know a lot of kids, when their parents
I'm an
push
only
them
child.
into med
I'm an
school
only
or
child. Do you have siblings, James?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm an only child. So what happens is, not that I'm spoiled, it's just that I have this weird confidence / delusion that I can do anything that I put my mind to, with work, of course. So that's what happened. That's just what happened. My family grew up with like really strict 7 cousins. Like, I literally have a million cousins, and they have to compete to get their family's attention. I don't have to compete. I always have this mentality that, it sounds really weird, but like, I feel like things will come to you if you work for it. So I don't have to compete. I just do. So I don't have the mentality where I don't think I'm good enough. I just do shit and I do it. So that's, I guess, I don't know. I feel like this answer is so rah-rah, and there's people that want to hear like, give me advice. I don't know. It's just really interesting like that.
What about when it comes to actually progressing on social media and bringing value? Because I find for myself a lot of the time, I'll be trying to fit that, I'll post at this time and I'll post at this time. But while posting at those times, I won't try and bring value, and I'll just sort of almost just post to post. And I feel like there is not much point in that. What would your advice be to that, to actually bring value on social media?
If you don't have anything to say, don't say it. I have a problem. I just talk a lot just because I have shit to say. But for some people that run out of ideas, you need to stop and take a break. I feel like people get annoyed with accounts. I have so many messages a day like, Jade, no one's watching my stories. Like, you tell me to post on stories. It's because probably your stories are shout outs of every single YouTuber you want to collab with, and you just kind of put in random trash, like clink link in bio. Like, no one gives a shit in the link in bio. Like, put some value. So I feel like it gets noisy when you just treat it as, when you treat social media as a shout out promotion instead of helping people. And if you have nothing to say, dude, if you have nothing to say, either recycle someone else's words and put into yours, or just be quiet and listen to people. Just listen. So that's for me. I just have a lot of things to say because I love talking. So that's why I'm kind of always on this like content. But some people can't. They need a break. And I definitely took a break for a couple weeks. Yeah.
What about, like, because I noticed you're always like energy. Is there certain things that like keep you fired up, or do you have to have those times where you feel down and you don't, like, what do you do when you get in a rut and you don't know what to do about, and you don't even know how to either if it's just a certain obstacle, or you just feel like shit emotionally, or like if it's just anything like that, like how do you get through that rut?
Okay, honestly, this is just not a lot of my subscribers know this, but I just know I know what dirt tastes like. I know what going to school with like literally like financial like I was in the worst financial situation, but like keep in mind I was 10, so I couldn't help my family. But like I just understand what it's like to have nothing, and now that I'm something, like not something, but like I have a little, I'm happy. Like I think people are either spoiled, they're not humbled in the situation they're in. I'm just honestly thankful. So I just know, because like think about it, like if you have a great life all your life and you don't know what shit tastes like, you're just kind of like, you know, like you're just in this rut. So I feel like I feel like when people send their kids to like Africa to do like, I don't know, some mission trip, like I feel like do it, but like it won't help you. You literally have to taste the shit to be thankful for where you're at. So what do I have to say? I guess I'm really motivated also because I like to write in this book, and I'm not saying like journaling, like I'm not like one of those aesthetic people that like hashtag buy this planner, but I do think I really opened my book one day, like, and I was like literally so depressed. I was like, who is this? And you just kind of get into a mentality where you're like, you came from here and now you're here, and there's this much to climb. And again, it comes from plan. It comes from having this other goal. So I get so sad also when I'm confused. Every day I wake up, I'm like, shit, what do I do? I don't go to school. So there's also that's something I face every day. So
yeah. When it comes to journaling, because I think that's something that really gives me clarity and it makes me figure out what I actually want and what I want to do. How do you go about journaling? Do you just write a plan, or do you write how your day went, and do you write pros, cons of today? Like I find myself generally just doing a very list style thing. Like what would your advice be for journaling?
Oh man, okay, so that's really interesting. I used to use this. So this is my journal. It's like, it was way too expensive. It's a productivity planner. It's so cute. You put your things on here. You do this. It's so organized. But I'm just like, fuck that. Like, honestly, there was this thing where, like, I was like, okay, I need to buy an expensive planner because, you know, you're motivated to write. But that doesn't work, you know? I read this video. I guess I'm really into IT. This might sound crazy, but computers, the way it works is they don't do the tasks, like, by priority. They do it at random, and they do it all at once. So too many people sit down and think about how to plan instead of doing it. So that's when I transferred over to this. And if you want to see, it's so messy. I just write down the shit I want to do, and I just kind of pick and choose and do it. So my thing is, if you want to strategize, it's going to help you, but it's not going to help you execute. So this is what it looks like. Yeah. And I just write all the shit, like literally like write all the shit that I'm like thinking about. And I don't know, I'm not actually probably this is the most trash advice, but like I'm like so against like planning right now. I'm like, I rather just post random shit on the wall and then like pick one and then just do it. So I don't really have an order. I don't have a schedule, but I do work a lot. And I'm also really you're huge on fitness. So am I. I think that helps a lot, because when you're running a business or podcast or YouTube channel, you need energy. Please take care of yourself, and please sleep as well. Yeah.
So like, do you ever have trouble having that relaxation time? Because I know for myself, I'll get into a rut where I don't feel like, I feel like it's almost like I shouldn't be giving myself that time to relax, and I get into that. It's a very unhealthy mindset.
I feel that. Honestly, I feel like I can't relax ever. I need to keep working. You know what I mean? So in regards to relaxing, I feel like I relax too much. So I feel like, I don't know, maybe that's unhealthy, because like people are like, Jade, you gotta take a fucking break. I guess I kind of like it. I don't know. Do you like always on that grind, or do you always? I like it. I genuinely like it. So I'm honestly what you would call a workaholic, and maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe you are too. That's like a sign that's like that's a sign that you can honestly run a business, because if you like working and you're willing to do a lot of stuff, like I feel like that's a huge sign that you can run a business. That's not everything though, but that's a sign. So for everyone that's young and that loves to work and kind of wants more than just their homework, I feel like that's a sign.
Yeah, and definitely I feel like there's a big difference between being a 9-to-5 workaholic where you hate your job, and like there's a lot of examples of those, and it's like, it's just, I could never live that way. I'd rather have like no money and just do social media, and even if I had no followers, it's like I don't even care.
Well, be careful, because when you have no money and no followers, you actually get really depressed real quick, and you also, that's one of, so you know, people always say like, I don't care about the follow, I don't care about the money, but like you need to eat, boy. So like, it does come in hand, but like, no, like I'm being honest, like people don't understand, like you still need to eat, you still need to pay the bills. So yes, 9-to-5 job, like it's always like looked down upon, but I think it's okay. Like if you need to work at Starbucks for some side of cash, that's okay. Like, you know, but I totally understand. Like I'd rather not be employed than do what I love, you know, but I still feel like it's not fun to not eat, you know, so.
I feel like you kind of have to, you know, bridge that gap and find the balance, but it's like, so I'd like to finish off with this, because I finish at 10:45. So what would be your main piece of advice to anyone trying to get started in this, and what would be the main thing that would make the most difference now?
I think this is it. So, in regards to starting entrepreneurship, it's gonna be scary. So this is my last little quote of the day. So I think it was like, I think you might have heard this, James, on my vlogs, because I talk about this a lot. So it's like when you tell this is it. When you first tell someone you're gonna do something, they're gonna tell you it's impossible. The second time you do it, they're gonna tell you you're lucky. By the time everyone else is doing it, who cares? So if you ever have an idea, do it. If you have a YouTube channel you want to start, just do it. If you just want to do a business that you don't know that will work, by the time everyone does dropshipping, do you think anyone gives a fuck about your freaking little fidget spinner? No. So that's what's happening to a lot of entrepreneurs. They're hopping onto a boat that's already filled with a lot of sharks. Find your blue ocean, find your clear water, and do it before everyone else does.
Damn. Boom.
Boom!
Yeah, I'll just cut it there. But where can people find you online? Because I know YouTube, Instagram, podcast, etc.
Yeah, so my last name is really long, but if you want to, follow me on youtube.com/Jade Darmawangsa, and same with Instagram, Jade Darmawangsa. And then if you would like, I also do a podcast. It was called The Raisin Brand, to raise your brand, and I'm currently working on actually super exciting projects with Alexa and application. So it would be awesome to have some of your followers just join my journey. As long as, James, I'm also supporting you, man. And thank you so much for having me.
Sweet, all good. Thank you so much for coming on. This was really really high energy.
Yeah, this is kind of fun. Maybe I'm screaming too much and the footage just sucked, but yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's very, very, very good. But yeah, sweet as. Sweet. I'll just cut it there. But yeah, so the main links that I should put in the show notes is like YouTube, Instagram. So, YouTube, Instagram, podcast, anything else? Facebook, something like that?
Yeah, of course. It's just, you can find my name at Jade Darmawangsa. If you can't pronounce that or say that, I think there'll be a link below.
Damn, you got.
All right,
you got
guys,
mad
have an
energy,
amazing
like,
day.
honestly.
What's your fan base called? Do you have a fan base name for them?
I have no clue.
Maybe the Jamesters.
literally
Bye,
don't.
Jamesters.
The Jamesters. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Student Side Hustle. I would appreciate so much if you would leave a review if you'd like to hear more of what I'm saying. Then I would love if you would follow me on Instagram or check out my other social media, all linked in the show notes. And again, I would just like to say thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful evening and study hard.